Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is dyandraadg Goesvi, and this is my reading report for topic 9, affective filter and noticing skill for reading report topic 9. For reading report assignment 9. So first, I'm going to explain about the affective filter hypothesis. So, the affective filter hypothesis is part of Stephen Krashen's theory on language learning. It explains how emotions like anxiety, motivation, and self-confidence affect the ability to learn a new language. So, imagine your brain is a sponge, ready to absorb the new language. Now, there is a filter that either lets language in or blocks it. This filter is influenced by your emotions. First is low affective filter. When you feel confident, motivated, and relaxed, your brain's filter is open. You're like a sponge, soaking up the language easily because there's nothing stopping you from learning. In the other hand, high affective filter is when you are anxious, stressed, or have low self-esteem. The filter gets blocked. It's like a wall goes up and you cannot absorb the language well, even if you are in the right environment to learn. So Krashen's affective filter hypothesis is all about how important emotions are in the process of learning a language. Teachers or language environments that make learners feel comfortable and motivated lower that filter, allowing more effective learning. On the other hand, fear or stress raises the filter, making it harder to learn. So let's dive a bit deeper into the connection between motivation, self-confidence, and anxiety. In second language learning, motivation is one of the key factors that Krashen talks about when explaining about how emotions affect language learning. So motivation can be like integrative motivation. So this happens when learners are motivated because they want to connect with the culture or the people who speak the language. They want to feel part of that group or community. For example, someone might want to learn Spanish because they love Spanish music or want to live in Spain. Another example of motivation is instrumental motivation. So this motivation comes from practical reasons. The learner might want to learn a language for a job, for travel, or to pass a test. So Krashen argues that high motivation helps keep the affective filter low, which means learners will be more open to input and learning the language. When learners are motivated, they tend to be more focused, more persistent, and more likely to enjoy the learning process. The second one is about self-confidence. So self-confidence is another important emotional factor in language learning. If learners feel confident, they are more likely to take risks, speak, and engage with the language without being afraid of making mistakes. Number third is about anxiety. Anxiety is a big blocker in language learning. Big blocker. So according to Krashen, anxiety makes the affective filter go up, which means it becomes much harder for learners to absorb new language input. So this anxiety could come from fear of making mistakes, social anxiety, and test anxiety. So Krashen emphasized that creating a low anxiety, supportive environment is creating a low anxiety and supporting environment is crucial for language learning. In such an environment, in such an environment, learners feel more comfortable. They are more likely to take risks, and they can learn faster. So how do these factors work together? So motivation helps learners stay engaged and excited about learning the language. Self-confidence makes learners feel they can succeed, encouraging them to take risks and speak more. Anxiety creates a barrier, raising the affective filter and making it harder to absorb the new language. So the next one, I'm going to discuss about noticing hypothesis by Smith. So it's about how learners need to be aware or notice certain features of a language in order to learn them. The core idea is that just being exposed to a language isn't enough to learn it effectively. Learners must consciously notice the language forms, like grammar or vocab, and to internalize them. So in simple terms, Smith argues that attention is key. When we notice something, we are more likely to remember it and use it in the future. If learners are not aware of specific elements of the language, those elements won't be learned or used properly. For example, if a learner hears a sentence like "she go to the store," but doesn't notice the grammatical error, like "go" should be "goes," they might not learn the correct form unless they pay attention to it. So simply hearing language input isn't enough without noticing the patterns and rules. Smith's hypothesis has important implications for language teaching. Teachers should help learners pay attention to these features through activities, corrections, or drawing learners' attention to language form in context. This could be through explicit teaching, or through tasks that encourage noticing. So, in my conclusion, that